everyone and welcome back to another video. So we're gonna do a back to school chit chat where we're just gonna talk about all things like revision, body image. We're gonna be talking about confidence, anxiety, mental health, all of that. And we're kind of just going to look at the differences as well between how it was when I was at school and how she feels when she's, well, kind of online school. Yeah,
whatever.
Okay, so let's get started. Basically, I put on my social medias. If you don't follow me on social, by the way, follow me because that's where I do a lot of my interactions. That's why I do a lot of my interactions.
Reels.
That's what I do all my interactions. So I put on my Instagram, I think a couple of days ago, and I said, to those that have left school, what is one thing that you wish you knew back then that you realised once you left school? And I got like a lot of comments, but a lot of them were to do with body image. And I thought that was really interesting because I never really saw that as a big thing for me at school. But if that is an increasingly touched on topic, I feel like we might as well talk about it, like body image impacts.
I feel like for some people it's very, very different because compared to like your generation, you wouldn't look at that.
I think there were some body image issues and there were a lot of trends. Like I remember the eyebrow trends, like the curly I'm not even gonna like the eyebrows, and there was just so many different things that were trends back in those days, and then they kind of oh my god, I'm not even that old, but then the trends kind of died down. Whereas with you guys, I think it's slightly different.
Yeah, I feel like our generation look at more social media or things that we've heard or seen. And one major thing that I've seen is height. That's like one that is, I feel like it's starting to increase. With me and Christina, sometimes we compare our heights because I'm taller than her now. I'm 5'6". And she's 5'4".
Yeah. But when I was younger, I used to have like a lot of people thinking we were similar ages because
twins.
Remember when we went on holiday? Oh my god.
We went on holiday and there was some lady and she was like, "You guys are so cute. Are you twins?"
And I was like, I'm 4 years older than her.
She looked at me, I looked at her.
I was looking at you and you was looking at me.
I looked at her. We were like, no. We just said no. That's a no for me.
Honestly, body image, I think it's becoming a bigger thing.
Yeah, even weight as well. I feel like that.
I think everyone just wants to be whatever they're not. Like, and I think for me, the reason why I said I didn't realise body image was such a big thing until like when I say recently, in the past few years, is because when I was at school, I'm not even going to lie to you, from year 7 up until like year 10, year 11, I just didn't care what I looked like at school. I think obviously I want to cream my skin so I'm not dry and things that I would do, but in terms of like coming with like full glam and you know, I just wasn't that person. I just didn't have the time for it really. I just woke up, sort myself out, go to school, do what I have to do and leave. And then I think when it got to around late year 11, near prom time, that's when I was like, okay, now that it's prom, I might as well like actually present myself properly. And then from that time on, like I put a bit of appearance in. I think from year 7 up until year 11, I just
don't care. Now that it's lockdown and some people are struggling to get their head on, they are like, oh, what should I do? You know, like I can't do my natural hair because it's so tight
like this.
I feel like you just need to embrace it, literally. Like just go to school, look like a boss, but also don't worry about what you look like.
When you apply for university, they actually won't be asking for a headshot of you. They won't be asking what you look like. They'll be asking what grades did you get at GCSE. And that's one of the things that I actually want to touch on, actually, about the importance of certain subjects that they don't really talk about. Maths and English, I did not realise how, I knew it was important, but I didn't realise how important it is to actually do well in maths and English. And we were talking about how if we're going to do anything, even if it's like going to university, she did an apprenticeship, they want to know what you got for your maths and English GCSE. Sometimes they don't even, you could be doing a business degree And they don't even require you to have done business for GCSE. Sometimes they just want to see maths and English. Yeah, I would definitely say make sure that when you're going to school, it's all right to, you know, try here and there, look nice and everything, but make sure, you know, when it comes to your studies, that you're actually working.
Like, if you know that you're good at a certain subject, do not focus on that
I
one.
used to spend more time on the things I was good at because it made me feel good.
Focus on the stuff that you need to improve on, so you're even better at the ones that you're good at. Even with KRISTINA, when people saw her after she got her GCSE grade, they automatically assume that, oh my god, you're just so smart, like you just don't understand. No, and I'm not saying KRISTINA was I'm not saying KRISTINA was dumb or anything. I'm just saying that she did put in a lot of effort behind the scenes, and even like socially, she almost like put that aside and let me focus on my work.
Boundaries was a big thing for me, because when I was at school, I don't think people realize how much of a talker I actually was, because I was so focused on my work that it's like people almost saw me as, in fact, I was a bit reserved at school, but I was even more so in class because I was so focused. But I know a lot of people, it's difficult. It's easier said than done.
KRISTINA's very strict on herself. So if she knows if she knows she has not done any work, she'll be like,
I can't do that.
She'll spend the next day, she'll have her rest, and then she will say, you know what, like I actually just need to sort myself out. For me, I'm more of the type where I know I haven't done any work.
You like when other people tell me. Yeah.
I like when other people discipline me. Like, for example, like my dad, he always said to me, like, Lauren, just get some rest. It's okay.
Sleep is so important,
It really is, you know.
If I didn't have enough sleep, I can't function. I won't be able to function. Some people can nap. I struggle to nap. Like, if I napped, I'll wake up feeling worse. Okay, so now we're going to move on to academics, because a lot of people, when I ask them what is something that you wish you knew back then, a lot of people touched on revision. And when I was on the phone call, I was like, I probably won't talk about revision because I feel like everyone kind of knows that they need to revise. And they said, no, you need to go over revision, because some people, it's such a cliche now that it's almost like, yeah, I've revised, but have you really? Because I remember I used to think I've revised. I used to have a laptop, I used to look at the laptop, I used to have my books, I used to be with my books for hours, and I thought I revised, but at the end of the day, what have I remembered? And revision is about retaining information. It's not just looking and making it look all pretty. Have you seen the cursive writing and the lovely colours and stuff? That's all well and good, but if you have not remembered that, I'm sorry,
it's not gonna work.
Yeah, so I'm gonna quickly talk to you about what I use for GCSE and a bit about A-level as well. First thing that I'll talk about is the importance of textbooks. The importance of textbooks. I try to read, but it's so hard. But reading, knowledge is power, right? If you can remember textbooks, if you can remember, especially the spec books, if you know you're doing Macbeth, get a Macbeth book, If you know you're doing maths, get a maths book. But if you know, that you don't know the content for the spec, learn the content. The next thing is revision cards. Me and revision cards were best friends when it came to stuff like languages and when it came to maths, because even though you may not think of it this way, to me, maths in itself is its own language. Like, if you can't speak math,
oh well,
that's the end, really. Once you write things down, like formulas, stuff like that, and you're able to remember them, you're sorted, as long as you can apply it to questions, because maths at GCSE is basically English, because the way that some of these questions are worded,
it's true.
I'm not going to go into that. Practice papers. Get used to looking at mark schemes, because that brings me on to science. Science. Obviously mind maps are great for science, but I can't stress it enough. If the mark scheme says this, and you write this, that, it is wrong, because you did not put this, right? What you need to figure out is, what did the mark scheme say? If the mark scheme says something, write what the mark scheme says. If you start seeing the red flags and you start seeing the behaviors, you just know, So it's the same thing with approaching science. When you feel like, oh, I've seen a question like this before, and the mark scheme specifically told me not to talk about this, I should talk about that. Not only have you combined the content that you've learned from the textbooks and your mind maps, but you also are familiar with the mark scheme.
You can make your notes as nice as possible. So as you can see, I wrote really nice. And then as time went on, I started writing like this.
And that is something, ironically, my cousin spoke about. We were talking about back to school when we go to WH Smith, yeah. We buy all these pens and pencils and rulers and sharpeners and, oh my God, I can't test. We were doing margins, underlining our work, numbering pages in our books. We were doing it all. By the third week,
Vanish.
we're writing like this. We're writing...
Wow.
It's so bad. So please try and maintain that rhythm throughout the year, because there are some subjects where it's so heavy on content, even at A level, especially at A level, things are so heavy with content that you have to keep on going. Like, you have to just continue to develop your revision cards, continue to look back on revision cards.
Yes.
Like, you actually need folders. Because some of the work, I would say, yes, it might be in an exercise book if you're lucky. Yes, it might all be online because everything moved online. So yes, in that respect, you may be lucky, but you will get a lot of loose sheets, random, exam papers. You need to keep them in one place so that you can refer back to them. So get yourself a folder.
Another thing I'd like to touch up on is find a way to motivate yourself, because even during this time there's not a lot of motivation going on. With me, I like to listen to motivational speakers, or even just music in general that motivate me to do my work. And I am a very expressive person in general, so if I don't feel motivated, I will speak to my family, or I'll speak to like a really close friend of mine and say.
And even when you're studying, you feel most motivated through studying with other people.
Yeah, I like, for example, KRISTINA. If I'm studying or doing homework or something, if she's downstairs, I'll just work downstairs and I'll mind my own business. But I just like the fact that she's there, the company, and I feel like she has a lot of discipline as well. So if she sees that I am lacking, she'll be like, Lauren, like, come on now. During this time, it's very easy to not feel motivated. And going back to what we were saying about sleep, if you're not feeling motivated, it could be shown through you not sleeping, and it could have
sleeping pattern gone,
boom,
sleeping pattern gone,
vanish,
everything's gone, concentration gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
guys. Do you remember, if you went to my school, or even if you just passed school, do you remember when we used to have those assessments? They weren't even exams, they weren't GCSEs. But we'd have these mocks, not even the mocks, they were the mocks of the mocks. They were just
assessments,
random assessments, and we would be like, like, I don't know what to do. 6 markers. We would panic over 6 markers. Guys, it's all part of the learning process. Once you do an exam, even if you get 0, at least you've learned. At least you know what you need to improve on, and then do better on the next one. Your goal is GCSEs or A levels or whatever it is. Yeah. These assessments that you do, obviously work hard at them, but it's not the end of the world that if you don't do as well as you hope. Just keep on revising, and after a while, you'll get the hang of it. Okay, and finally, I'm just going to quickly touch on mental health, because I think some of the things that I spoke about here was to do with social aspects, mental health, stuff like friendship, stuff like networking, being true to yourself, that type of stuff. Those were the things that a lot of people who left school wish that they knew back when they were at school. And I think it's so important as well, because even when I'm thinking about it, I would get very anxious about things that seem so small now. And I think it's so easy to be so like consumed in the whole idea of school. And I think even doing it live at home, school, I feel like I do it with lectures sometimes, but my lectures are a bit less frequent than an average school day. So I would only have a 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, for example. Whereas when you're at school, having to do that every day, if you're not that way inclined, I feel like it's so easy to end up going down the route of just feeling so low. Because if I had to wake up at that time and just be doing things like in my room, I would feel so down. And I think once you start feeling so down and you have like a negative perspective on life, it leads to depression, which is obviously a mental health issue that is not something to be played around with. You know, if you do feel like this is really impacting you and you don't really know how to deal with it, it's so important that you express how you are feeling, especially when you're at school. Sometimes people feel like, okay, people don't understand like what I'm experiencing, so they don't tend to actually speak out about it. But you know, things like depression, anxiety is so much more common than you would think it is. Also being true to yourself, because I was even thinking back to when I was at school, and I don't know if you guys can relate. You know, if you can relate, leave a comment down below, right? But I sometimes felt a bit odd when I was at school. I know sometimes I act a bit odd. I sometimes felt a bit odd because when I was at school, I was very mature. I was like overly independent sometimes, because when you're at school you have your group, your social group, and you do everything with your group. You know, you go to a revision with your group, you go to the toilet with your group, you know, you do everything with your group. Even with the guys, like you'll go play sports with the group, you'll go do this with the group, like everything's with a group. Not that that's a bad thing, like, but I didn't see an issue with going to revision by myself. If I need help with something, I'm gonna go get help. Right? Quick. People think like, why is she doing that by herself? And I would just think of it that I need to do this. But not everyone is that way, and I think for some people it's probably difficult for you to just, you know, divert from what your friends are doing, because you feel that element of like peer pressure. But that's why I would say definitely being able to balance time. You know, sometimes it's okay to spend time with your friends, sometimes it's okay to chill, sometimes it's okay to like have a laugh and stuff, but then other times you need to be able to know, okay, it's time for me to revise, or okay, it's time for me to do things by myself, right? Do you know what I mean?
Sometimes I'll be on the bus and I'll be like, I just distance myself from everyone.
And it's not because you've got a problem with anybody or you're doing it.
Oh,
sometimes people think I'm upset with people. I don't know, that's just me. That's just how I am.
And I don't ever like do it in an awkward way where I just sit there and not speak. I always say to my friends, I'm going to be over here because I just want some time to myself. And I never like almost dismiss them and be like, no, like,
I don't want you. Yeah.
If they want to be with me, that's fine, but respectfully,
you know, I'm not going to be as social as I I'm not going to be as social as I usually am, because I just need that time to recharge. And I think that's so important. I don't know why people have this expectation of, as soon as you go back to school, everyone's going to be social, everyone's going to be out there, some people are going to be very anxious.
With me, I used to be, and I still am, I'm still a very social person. However, I've gone more introverted now, and I think you've started to realise that as well. I've become more quieter. Sometimes I'll just, you know, just watch and just think. When I was younger, I was very expressive, so very. And I'm not saying I'm not like that now. Like, if I'm upset about something, it will be said. If I'm annoyed about something, I will vocalize it. But I've just toned it down a lot.
Like, making sure that you're actually enjoying school. Because, you know, when you get past school, when you get past that age, all you ever think about is your school experiences, whether it was good, whether it was bad. All you ever refer back to is, oh yeah, when I was at school, when I was this. So if you're going to refer back to school, at least try and make it good. At least, you know, sometimes it can be boring, but if you are willing to actually make it exciting and make it a good experience, try. I
just feel like I'm not a high school person, and that's okay to say. I'm not saying I don't enjoy high school, I'm just not the type of person.
I think what it is with you is that you enjoy being around your friends, you enjoy, you know, the social aspects, you like practical things, like you know, textiles, you like that, but it's the structure of a school day that you just can't
do. You just need to find out what you prefer.
Seeing as you're going back to school very soon, what I would say is just try not to overthink it, try not to be too nervous. I know it can be hard, but try not to think too deeply into it, because before you know it, you'll think of all these negative thoughts and you'll go there and be like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, and it feels like I've always been there. So that's all we have really to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share this around if you know that there are people that are in this position, that they're going back to school, or someone who you feel like it would be interesting just to share it with them. Be like, oh, remember we did this at school, memories, remember that? Then make sure you share. But thank you so much. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.